A couple of months ago, we went to Devon to spend some slow time around Dartmoor, where our friends Phil and Jamie live. Like us, a couple of years ago, they followed their heart and moved from London to the countryside. This is a slow worm, who is also about to explore a new countryside home. Slow worms are not actually worms. He looks quite a lot like a snake, but unlike snakes, his cute little eyes have eyelids. He's actually a legless lizard. The blue spots show that he's male, and he could be as old as me. We found him, weirdly, in a busy car park in the nearby town of Totnes. I almost stepped on him. He was out of place among the cars, and struggling for grip on the tarmac, with only walls and pavement around. It's usually best not to interfere with wild animals, but he needed help before he was squashed flat. He must have come from a nearby garden, but without knowing where was safe from cats and lawnmowers, we decided to relocate him a little outside the busy town, somewhere calmer. So we took him on his very first car journey, and then watched as he disappeared into new surroundings. Since Dartmoor is a great place for hiking and wild camping, Josh and I headed off for a mini adventure. This spectacular row of old beeches we found out on the moor looks like it was maybe once just a beech hedge that someone planted. It's a reminder that some species exist on a different timescale to us, and that the changes we make to the environment, good and bad, will exist long into the future. Some people assume Dartmoor is naturally 95% empty grassland like this, or that the lost forest here cannot come back. Both of these ideas are wrong. We could very realistically allow nature to turn this back into rich, temperate rainforest within our short lifespan. It's amazing to witness how nature plants forests. The river here brought hazelnuts and acorns downstream. This tiny oak sapling has sprouted among the boulders, but unless we make some space for nature, the sheep will soon eat it. Every single year, tree saplings sprout and the forest tries again to come back. But the political decision to dedicate almost 100% of this land to sheep farming actively prevents nature reclaiming any space. Surely there's a better balance to be struck. Just 50 years ago, this valley was flooded to make this reservoir. And you can see that the forest sprung back on the sheep-free island in the middle. This mountain ash has beaten the odds and survived because the spiky gorse bushes have kept the sheep away. The seed might have arrived in a bird's poo. We were heading upstream to one of the last surviving scraps of woodland on Dartmoor, Blackatour copse. This place here, Blackatow Copse, is one of my favourite places ever. It just feels so magical and special and ancient, and I just feel really like grounded and playful and excited when I'm here. The oaks that grow amongst the boulders here are naturally dwarfed by the tough conditions. Even this tiny remnant of rainforest creates an oasis where all sorts of organisms, mosses, ferns, bugs, birds and lichens can live. It's a hint of what would happen if we could allow nature to have even a small share of Dartmoor. But we lose even this tiny remaining fragment if sheep are allowed to eat the younger generation of trees. We had decided to set out late and walk back under the full moon, before sleeping in the car. Planning night walks doesn't just let you see the landscape and wildlife differently, but can mean that you have the place to yourself long before the night even begins, after everyone else has already had to leave. It feels rare and special in Britain to walk for miles without seeing another person or electric light.
Just dripped in my mouth.
Oh no.
Dartmoor is famous for its ponies. They are not truly wild horses. They have owners, but they live semi-wild on the moor and mostly look after themselves. Archaeologists have found hoof prints showing that there have been domesticated horses here for at least 3,500 years. However, the type of coat pattern of this foal, which is known as primitive markings, with pale hair on the nose and a dark stripe down the back, is similar to the world's last surviving wild horses in Mongolia, and similar to Stone Age cave paintings in France from maybe 20,000 years ago. These markings are said to be a sign that these ponies from Exmoor and Dartmoor are closely related to the ancestral wild horses from which all today's domestic horses descend.
Hello. Hello, pony.
It's illegal to feed the ponies, but they clearly don't think it should be.
You're very sweet.
After our little adventure, we headed back to Jamie and Phil's. In their woods near Dartmoor, there is far more biodiversity than on the empty moor. We found pignut plants flowering amongst bluebells in a clearing. I've decided against collecting pignuts before because, unlike the foraging you've seen me do in previous videos, you have to disturb the ground and kill the plant, and that's also illegal without landowner permission. Here they are abundant, and Jamie and Phil were keen to try them, so I decided it was worth a go. You have to follow the delicate stem all the way down to find the little pignut. I took them down to the stream and rubbed the muddy skin off each one. It felt like a big effort to prepare such a tiny bite, because I'm used to the convenience of supermarkets. But our ancestors would have felt that 30 minutes for a handful of sweet, crunchy food was a great deal. There are few forage foods that are this tasty raw. So I looked around me, listened to the stream, and settled into enjoying the process rather than being impatient for the end result. Being in the countryside, there's so many opportunities to reset our pace, to enjoy living, rather than trying to get the practicalities done. I don't think speed and efficiency is itself a problem, and I don't want to be a slow worm and live with none of the time-saving conveniences of modern life. In fact, I jumped at Jamie's offer of a speedy drive around their land. When I found the pace of the city oppressive, it's not that it was fast, but that I had to fit in with the pace set outside of myself, rather than being able to move easily between energetic times and restful times, in tune with my own animal instincts. I can do that much more now living in nature. Nature isn't intrinsically slow. Nothing is more energetic than a goldcrest in spring. It's Europe's smallest bird, the weight of a 2-pence coin, and they live less than a year on average. So they are on a tight schedule to find food and breed. This one, however, started dancing frantically outside the window, as if he wanted to join us inside. We joined him outside instead, and he was way too distracted to notice or to care. We realized that he had mistaken his own reflection in the window for a rival male in his territory, a rival just as energetic as him, who wouldn't back down. Goldcrests live near the limits of what is biologically possible. They can burn 20% of their body weight just to survive a cold night. So we didn't want him to waste energy fighting himself, which is probably a decent advice for all of us. We tried to discourage him, but he kept coming back. Neither a towel nor a cardboard cutout of a bird of prey were 100% successful, but he gave up in the end. We headed from Dartmoor to the South Devon coast. Following a local tip, we very cautiously navigated the tumbling cliffs to explore a hidden cove. We always love to see what the sea has brought in, and we found this. It's called a mermaid's purse, and this one is attached by long twisty cords to a bit of kelp that has broken off the bottom of the sea and washed up. I'd never seen a mermaid's purse anywhere near this size. They are egg cases of sharks and rays, and this one, we learned from the Shark Trust, comes from a nurse hound cat shark. From Devon, we headed to join friends in Dorset to celebrate the birthday of our friend Hannah on the Jurassic coast. Josh and I cooked a vegan feast for a beach picnic. And it felt so good to reconnect with old friends as pandemic restrictions eased, and to make new friends as well.